It's Rog. It's Wednesday. And what have we just witnessed? The final night, Champions League nights of the group stage. And it was honestly, it's a bloody humdinger. Newcastle and PSG doing the dance o' death over whose Champions League would live and whose Europa League. Well, essentially, it's kind of like dying. Newcastle didn't even get there, as we will discuss, partially because of Christian Pulisic. You've heard of him. That tiny giant from Hershey, Pennsylvania, scored again off a Giroud assist. If you've not seen it, find it. It is close as we may get until it happens of watching LeBron do an alley-oop for Bronny to dunk home, father to son. And let me just say, we will talk about all of this as well. Manchester United fans, how are you feeling? I ache for you. I do. And if that isn't a sign of just how bad things are going, yes, we're at the universal sympathy stage for Ten Hag and his seemingly doom mob. Anyone who's been watching United for the past 20 years will just know exactly how far that means we've fallen. We will break all of it down and take your questions on anything ahead of a weekend in which Manchester United play Liverpool and JJ Watt flies to England for the big one, Burnley against Everton. And let's discuss all of this and more together on this Do It Live, presented by Cash App. Download Cash App. Type in Matty Cash App. That will not help you. Type in Cash App. That will help you at the App Store or the Google Play Store today to start saving today. And who doesn't like saving? That's money. That's Cash App. I actually use it myself often. We'll be using it tonight for reasons I'll explain at the end of the podcast. And we are here on YouTube Live. Come and be with us. Come on. Come hang out with old Rog. Come and ask your questions about football, about Champions League, about Premier League, about life. Here's how it works. You can come on, join me on stage, on this YouTube stage. Give me your hot takes. Give me your questions. Talk about anything. I'm actually putting my list of books for the year together as we speak. We can talk about yesterday's games. We talk about today, tomorrow's games. Just got to scan that QR code on the top left of your screen. I hate QR codes, I know, but do it. Come and be with me, and it'll take you into a Zoom. You know with whom? Producer Jake, who can tell you everything you need to know. Do not worry. Well, number one, Jake's a lovely human being. And number two, you won't appear on the screen. It's audio only. So come be with me for the questions, which will be happening in just a minute. Scan the bloody QR code. Yes, we all hate them. Use it. Come be with me. Do not leave me hanging. Follow the instructions. Come up on stage and be with us. And if you don't want to come up on stage, give me a like on YouTube. It really bloody helps. Just giving myself one. It's a very fulfilling, it's a very pleasing moment. There's something deeply, deeply joyful about liking a YouTube. Come be with us. Get stuck right into the chat. We'll read out the best comments. And if you're just lurking, again, smash that like button, you beautiful human beings. I do want to start with a toast with Dana White's favourite alcoholic beverage, Bud Light. He's way into it, raising my first Bud Light to tonight. Bit sad being the last group stage game of the Champions League as we know it of all time before we move next season into the slightly weird new Swiss model. Damn, whenever anything's Swiss, isn't it always, just a bit shikiri? Instead of groups of 4, there will be one league of 36 teams next season. Each team will be drawn to play 8 games against different opponents, half at home, half away. Sounds and looks very, very whack. I'm sure there'll be a lot of UEFA manipulation with hot balls. But the honest truth is, this group stage that we know and love, that we're all quite fond of, has honestly lost its meaning. Before the last round, which has just ended, 13 of the Champions League last 16 had essentially been settled. And of those, 12 of the teams just happen to be the wealthiest 2 clubs in each group. The only one that really bucked the trend, PSV Eindhoven, the sole exception, the only team in the Champions League, playing 3 Americans. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. But to the knockout rounds we go with real jeopardy. And God, all the better for it. Godspeed to the football. Before we get to the football, you know what? Let's just dive in. Newcastle against Milan. What a night of delirium. Newcastle 1, AC Milan 2. A shattered Newcastle, welcomed by their adoring faithful and Ray Hudson, who brought along his big book of hyperbolic descriptions to just make it go next level. What an atmosphere at St. James's Park. What a night to be in the flag production business. Lot of Saudi oil money seemingly spent on polyester black and white atmospherics that were all over the stadium as they welcomed a shattered, broken Newcastle squad. Honestly, playing a fairly banged up Milan in a game with huge stakes. Newcastle's fate at the outset felt like it was out of their hands. Both they and PSG needed to win their final games. And then they needed the other result to fall in their favour to progress out the group. And how Toon were no doubt ruining the refereeing injustice which went against them so cruelly late on in Paris. But now Eddie Howe and his shattered side. Gent actually has named the same 10 outfield players for his last 6 games. That is how so few options he's had since November 25th. The only change in this one, Callum Wilson coming back from injury. You could see, really, the story of this game was in the 7 substitutes that Newcastle could name, and 2 of them were goalkeepers. That motley crew had to face up to the still alive, just Milan, and win. Milan needed victory and PSG's loss to proceed. Honestly, at the outset, it also seemed like they needed a new kit designer. They had this kind of like violet into electric blue, blurred, slightly tie-dye-ish, slightly cocktail-y third kit, I think designed to be worn only with skinny jeans, no socks, ankles showing. Curious choice, honestly, for a incredible heritage team with a rich visual history. Christian Pulisic and Yunus Musa started for Milan, which we now take for granted, but I never get tired of. Magical to witness. But Newcastle's midfield in the early exchanges, Guimaraes, Joe Linton and Miley, who is 12 years old. I don't care what they keep telling me he's 17. Kid is 12. I'm telling you, I've counted the rings. Plays like a veteran now, twice his age. And they utterly overwhelm Milan. And Q, 33rd minute, Joe Linton, fed by Anthony Gordon, took one touch to chip up the ball and then a second to obliterate it, to hammer it home with a stunning moment of violence that was reinforced by Joe Linton's incredible reaction. It really an act of ecstatic human power, the shot that made St. James's Park boil over in sound and fury and noise and emotion. But the player himself just calmly swaggered off. There was almost like a Cantona-esque quality to this moment. Whatever was going on inside Joe Linton's head, I want some of that. He kind of like just strolled off, swaggered off as if it was all no big deal, trotted off then. I thought it was beautiful, ran to hug Eddie Howe on the sideline, the man who has really saved his career in the Premier League, resurrected his career by transforming into an Iron Man of a midfielder and unleashing Joe Linton's full potency. Incredible stat. Lewis Miley with that assist became the youngest player in Champions League history to assist for an English club at the age of 17 years, 226 days. Kid is 12, just to be clear. Bullshit. Call him bullshit on the 17 years thing. Broke Theo Walcott's record for Arsenal from 2006. God bless you, young Theo. And Milan had in that moment, it felt for a second, they become bit players in this group drama. The drama felt like it was just resounding, ricocheting back between Newcastle and PSG in the other game. And AC Milan had not so much as mustered a shot on goal until it happened. The Cash App, that's money, moment of the match. Honestly, the Cash App, it's money, moment of the Champions League. There will not be another, so we may as well revel in it. Musa unleashed Leao, slapped the ball back. Tamori saw his name in lights, but scuffed the shot woefully. You can take the boy out of Chelsea, but his screwball landed at the feet perfectly of the single human being, if you're a Milan fan, that you would want your miss-hit to land at. Arise, Olivier Giroud, a.k.a. the coolest man in any room. And my lord, look at this whenever you get the chance on this goal. Look at Olivier Giroud's first touch, the first touch of a tender lover who can make love to you in one of 17 languages of his choice at any time. A touch born of flamboyant artistry. Just the touch, he kind of just instinctively cushioned the ball, knocked it down to find his man. I'll tell you who that man was in a minute. I'm sure you can guess, but it was just such a charismatic touch, such a moment of just deaf Parisian nightlife debauchery, the kind that in days of yore would have stimulated the fancies of Toulouse-Lautrec, would have, oh my God, can you imagine if Toulouse-Lautrec painted a poster of Olivier Giroud? Bite your arm off for that combo. But the pass, side foot, bounce pass, straight from Beard Dad to Beard Son, unmarked at the back post. Scooby-Doo finds Scrappy-Doo. Christian Pulisic, our Lord and Saviour from Hershey, Pennsylvania, who made no mistake, confident ruthlessness. I'll say that again. Christian Pulisic, confident ruthlessness. Did I say that Milan jersey was horrible? I'll take it back. I want one. Daddy wants 6 goals, 3 assists, all competitions for Christian Pulisic this season. Magnificent to witness. The Prince, who was promised, and Milan had hope. And Christian Pulisic had just silenced an entire stadium, St. James's Park, and the entirety of Saudi Arabia. I mean, this group was now drunk. Everything suddenly possible for every team. Ultimately in that moment, the Pulisic goal benefiting PSG most of all. Newcastle stung, but tenacious. Down the other end, just the goalkeeping maestro Mike Maignan got a meaty French forehand on a Guimarães arrow, palming it up off his own bar, which was less quithering in the cold Newcastle night. The Toon pressed forward relentlessly, desperate to get the goal that would propel them into the promised land. They left themselves so open, and into that space charged Rafael Leao, who blazed in on goal, gave Dubravka the eyes, sat him down, goal at his mercy, delivered a strike that would have sent Milan into the Europa League. Instead, it thudded off the post. An agony for Milan, a reprieve for Newcastle, and a warning shot for the Toon. But the Toon had no choice to ignore it. They had no option but tired legs, tired mind. They had to keep pressing forward. And Milan are designed to take advantage of that very tactical reality, unleashing a battery of attacking subs to up the ante with speed. 84th minute, all the newcomers change the game, moving from deep in their own half. Just an exquisite move to witness. Coordination, syncopation, lethal ruthlessness. Jovic charged up the gut. Fed Okafor rolled the ball across the box to the Nigerian assassin Chukwueze, who lashed home and shattered Geordie Hart. I'm exhausted just reliving this. Newcastle fans, I don't know how you feel. I don't know how you do it. Sometimes maybe we shouldn't seek to go above our station, Everton fans. Maybe it's just fine that we all know our place. I just thought in that moment, all of those man breasts bouncing around St. James's Park, all of those naked beer bellies just rippling, and how they all, both man breast and beer belly, suddenly just stopped. Silenced, replaced by the sound of heart shattering and dreams being revealed as folly. Newcastle vanquished. So much for them to think about as odd rumours continue to swirl around Eddie Howe and his future. Eddie Howe, can I just say, I think he's done an incredible job, to be candid. You look at how, if you're a Chelsea fan, and one of the things I'd be seething about this season, who has improved as a player? And I love Pochettino, but whom has he improved? Eddie Howe has improved players all over that squad. Yes, on this night, honestly, Milan could have scored again and again at the end. They didn't. They will Europa League, but all eyes suddenly move 654 miles east to Dortmund, Germany. Alex L. in the chat asks, are European nights going to start again with a round of 16 featuring just Joey Barton and Rory Smith? Question A, yes. Question B, Definitely not. And we will talk about the Dortmund game where the yellow wall welcomed PSG. Another match in a delirious stadium. Dortmund, their team already through. A win would ensure they moved on as group champion, welcoming this PSG team. Team really in transition. They had their fate in their own hands, yes. They needed a result to reach the last 16 stage. Their form in Europe has been staggeringly uneven. The growing pains of this current transition of a club culture between the big, expensive, occasionally unmotivated A-list names to a squad of tenacious, homegrown, young protégés grown mostly around Paris has led to a football under Luis Enrique of wonder and chaos. They have not had a proud record on the road in Germany in their history, and this game was so staggeringly open. Don't know how you say. I'm sure the Germans have a word for hammer and tongs, but that's what it was. The French howled at Dortmund, used their speed to roar through early. Often there was a couple of minutes in that first half, I think a 3-minute period, where Lee somehow slapped wide from like Beto range. Then Mbappe rounded the keeper, rolled home, felt the glory, only to have Sule race back. And I don't know how. It's incredible that he hooked the ball behind his own goal. I think only Sule could have done it, or Beto. Only a fearless defender or a Beto could have conjured the ability to scoop the ball over the bar from that distance. Muani then failed to capitalise on a one-on-one. It honestly could have been 4-0 PSG in the early exchanges. But this is PSG in the Champions League, a team whose recent history is really just filled with nemesis and hubris in front of goal. And the fact was, Dortmund were obliterated in that first half. They were utterly obliterated, but they could have gone in ahead at the death. Donnarumma made an incredible save, and then really right before half-time, Hummels nodded just wide, a miss, which was like Chekhov's gun. I don't know how you say, take notice, PSG, you could be vulnerable. And I don't know how you say when playing it out the back goes wrong on Francais, because this was an utter moment of folly early in the second half. Hakimi, a year ago, untouchable, a demigod, now coughing up the ball. Ben Sebaini pounced. Fulkrug took control by the byline, just laid the ball across the box calmly, simply, lethally, off to Adeyemi, who just popped the ball home, in off the post, should count double. PSG to Europa League, here we go. How we laughed in that moment, just astonishing. This mega team built as a statement, a symbol of the power of the Paris suburbs, the banlieue. But they responded, and quickly, with liberty, egalite, ferocity. Mbappe decimated the left flank, drew the entire Dortmund defence in a desperate attempt to try and put out the flames. They couldn't. Fed the ball to Zaire Emery, the 17-year-old from Montreux-sur-Bois. Sometimes this do it live is just an excuse for me to speak French so very badly. He lashed home. Mbappe thought he'd rifled the winner, restored a sense of calm, but VAR don't want calm. Ruled it off for offside as news filtered in of Chukwueze's goal for Milan. PSG knew that a Dortmund winner would see them tossed back into the abyss, but it was not to be. PSG scraped through any which way. Got to say, huge achievement for Dortmund. When this group was drawn, everyone was like, holy bloody crap. And also everyone was like, Dortmund probably have the smallest chance to emerge from this group de mort, however you say that in German, and they end up topping it. Truly remarkable. Newcastle out. What a crappy Champions League for English Premier League teams, as we will discuss. Great Archie Rintuff, great friend of the pod, the great ART, tweeted about the Sule moment. Pretty sure the last time Nicolas Sule was in this position, he was performatively farting on his sofa. God bless Archie Rintut. He knows. In other games today, Manchester City went to Red Star Belgrade. They were already group winners. No Haaland, no problem. A deeply experimental team. How experimental? Even Calvin Phillips got game time and took what turned out to be the winning penalty in a 3-2 win. Pep fielding the kit. I think when Pep plays an experimental team, he should also have to wear experimental garments that he's thinking about maybe wearing for the Premier League, but he's not sure. Something that's see-through that shows off his pierced nipples or whatever. I'm just suggesting ways to make this game feel more interesting. Anyway, he fielded the kids. 20-year-old Micah Hamilton scored on his senior debut. What must that have felt like for this kid who joined the Manchester City Academy age 7? Age 7, that's like Lewis Miley's age now. He was a ball boy, famous shot of him and Pep on the sideline during the game when he was a ball boy chatting. Now he's on the field scoring big boy goals. Magnificent. That's what football is about. That's what life is about. That kind of progression, that kind of story, that kind of belief, that kind of narrative. And then Oscar Bob, B-O-B-B, another 20-year-old, this one from Oslo, Norway, when Pete Messi carrying the ball on a slaloming run with clinicality and composure. It's a great clip to watch. Also incredible to watch the commentating on that. I mean, Oscar Bob, it's a phenomenal goal. If Lionel Messi had scored it, the commentator would have lost their shit. But it's just like, Oscar Bob, still Bob, and finishes. He'll be pleased. I mean, it is the most unelectric commentary on a deeply electric moment. Huge respect to the mighty Bob. City win, cruise the group, now face a relatively gentle run of fixtures coming up. I think Newcastle are the only team currently in the top half that they will face before the Manchester derby at the beginning of March. I think we all know what that means. Huge love to Antoine Griezmann. We profiled him in European Night to Rory Smith this week. So, of course, he opened the scoring against Lazio, a game that sealed Athletic Madrid's top place in Group E. His 35th Champions League goal all time. What a player. In the other game, Porto Shakhtar, essentially winner takes all. That was the other story that we profiled in European Nights in depth this week. That of Shakhtar Donetsk, the Ukrainian team. That's their pennant right behind me, who have been forced by war to be nomadic. They lost 5-3 tonight to Porto to snuff out their Champions League run dreams. They will carry their banner, though, in the Europa League. They are far more than a team right now. They're a symbol of pride for a defiant nation. Godspeed to them, and Godspeed to Antwerp in their first appearance in this tournament in 66 years. They gained their first ever win, and it was only against bloody Barcelona, 3-2, courtesy of a 92nd minute winner. That's the joy of football. They ended at bottom of their group, yes. Lost every game apart from this one, but I'll always have the memories of the night they dropped Xavi's boys. Bedankt! Oh, United fans, let's adopt the position to last night's games. And hello, darkness. My old friend, United 0, Bayern Munich 1. United fans, as I said at the top, even I'm beginning to wait for you. After that hard-earned joy of the return to Champions League football, it's where we belong. United not only failed to emerge from the group stage, they are out of Europe entirely, which honestly may be a blessing so they can focus and repair. We are in what feels like an endless cycle of futile agony for Manchester United. Where are you in your emotions, Manchester United fans? A lot of United fans who I'm close with are like, I don't even know what to do. I'm in stasis. I don't even commit to expecting anything other than pain. Avoiding humiliation is the big dubs for many United fans in this moment. It is a debacle. This once superpower who essentially have fallen and can't get up. And I am nearing sympathy. I'm smiling as I say this. First time I've smiled all day. I've had a horrible day. First time I was smiling all bloody day. But I am nearing sympathy. This is the kind of smile when you smile awkwardly at a funeral. Have you ever done that? You're there, you don't really know what to do emotionally, and it's not a smile. It's just, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. That's where we are for United. In this enormous week, Liverpool coming this weekend, and United no longer even hoping to show a system of football at the heart of their play. No, things have degenerated to this level. Ten Hag, before the game, through the media, or what the media picked up on as almost every headline, was, "Show me you care." That was the Ten Hag quote that made the back page of almost every English newspaper the night before the game. Show me you care. I'll say this once more. Show me you care. Ten Hag saying that to professional footballers, that you players who are receiving millions of dollars to play for one of the biggest teams in the world, That's where we are. Show me you give a crap, lads, would you? And the reality was, did they? Did they really? I'm not sure, because this was a must-win for Manchester United. And the result was never really in doubt. And for 89 and maybe three-quarter minutes, Bayern didn't even really have to get out of first gear to win this one. That is the agony for United fans. It wasn't so much a lack of effort, but my God, it was more the chasm. The chasm between the two teams in terms of the style, the idea, the substance, tactics, technical ability. Harry Kane, God, that was salt in the wound. Him facing up to the team that wanted him, the move that never happened, down the stretch. We expected United to bloody rise up, didn't we? To fight, to make our mockery. Yes, taste like ashes in our own mouth. Instead, in the most upsetting human thing of all, just it felt like an acceptance of the malaise that appears to have set in. The rot, the culture, once proud, defiant, cocky, borderline invincible. A lot of American fans who've been watching since 2014 can't even imagine that. A United who were defiant, cocky, borderline invincible. It was that way. They're now so shatteringly and utterly defeated. The acceptance of the players reflected, perhaps most surprising of all, in just a lack of any urgency down the stretch. No fight at the end. No siege was mounted. Barely a fist coiled and cocked. Never mind throw, and the squad simply went gentle into that good night, out of Europe entirely. Bottom of the group. I think Harry Kane, with his one, has as many assists at Old Trafford as Bruno Fernandes this season. United's 15 goals conceded in the Champions League group stage, a record by an English club. Meek, but you've still got that. No one's more impotent than we were. It's not nothing. Liverpool at the weekend to come. Epic game by name. Couldn't come at a worse time for Ten Hag. United almost caught in a death rattle in which a new manager at United fleetingly makes progress, can point to it, but then is left shuffling through players as he's flailing in a style that makes sense. Only to people who are former millionaires having to be on their knees picking up coins from the floor. What is the best hope for United fans? That's what I'm trying to ask. That's what I would like to know. What is your best hope now? Currently there's a lot of projection, a lot of stock being put in the Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the Ineos investment coming on. He's going to analyse the system, the process. There's going to be a top-to-bottom reworking of how United run. The staff will be doing an audit. They'll be bringing a sophisticated football structure. Really? I mean, is this where we are? That's our white knight. That is our shining sword for the future. I'd love to know, what is United's best hope, United fans? Right now, watching the club feels like magical, wishful. Thinking, God bless denial in the face. I love it. In the other big game yesterday, Arsenal headed to Eindhoven without Bukayo Saka, nothing to play for. Both teams had already secured their places in the next round. Arsenal top place in Group B. They met a Ricardo Pepe fueled side who also know they'd already done enough. Arteta made 8 changes to a starting lineup from Sunday's game against Villa. Aaron Ramsdale, this is where we were. Aaron Ramsdale got a game, his Champions League debut. Emile Smith-Rowe was on the bench. It was lovely to see him back from the knee injury that's had him out since October. Arsenal took the lead. Fine goal. Reece Nelson, Suarez, I think it was, combining down the right to set up Eddie and Ketcher for a fine lash finish. First Champions League goal for the mighty Eddie. And PSV, they are so bloody tenacious. They've showed us that in this tournament. And Ricardo Pepe, mwah, at the heart of the goal, the 20-year-old from El Paso, Texas, set up Yorbi Vertessen, the gentleman who set him up for his goal in the previous game. He could have had the winner at the death, honestly, 90th minute. He was totally open, crying for the ball to be played across, but Goose Till, which I think is Dutch for bastard, selfish bastard, elected to shoot wide of Ramsdale's goal, you total hater. PSV march on. It's an immense achievement, by the way. Just immense. I think the achievement of this Champions League so far is watching Ernie Stewart's side, Ricardo Pepe, the pride of El Paso, Texas. I actually got the joy of speaking to him this morning. We spent about over an hour together for an interview which comes out on Friday. All I'll say is, what a beautiful human being Ricardo Pepe is. What a self-aware, what an emotionally intelligent, emotionally articulate human being he is. That conversation, which will drop on Friday, I found it inspiring to talk to him, and I can't wait for you to hear it. Godspeed. So that's it, listeners, to your questions. That's a lot of bloody Rog. But here's how things work on YouTube Live. Remember, you know this, you're mouthing along at home. Scan the QR code in the top left of your screen, or click the pinned comment in chat, take you into a Zoom with producer Jake. People bid at silent auctions to spend one-on-one time in a Zoom with producer Jake. He can tell you everything you need to know. Do not worry. Do not be afraid. You will not appear on the screen. Although, honestly, might be good if we got people to come on the screen one day, producer Jake. We can but dream. Maybe Sir Jim Ratcliffe can help us with that. And for those of us who don't want to ask a question, smash that like button. Let's be having you. Let's start with Joshua Youngerman! Exclamation mark. Joshua, you beautiful human being. Come on up. Tell us where you are and what's your question.
Hey, Raj. I'm in Brooklyn, New York, from Chicago. Of course, huge White Sox fan. Can't wait to see how they mess up this offseason.
Oh, mate, it'll be diabolical. Where are you from in Chicago, baby?
Wilmette. So right in the suburbs, near Highland Park and Skokie.
I know the big W well. I know. How are you White Sox fans way up in Wilmette, baby?
Well, they won the World Series when I was in high school. So, I was considered
Joshua Youngerman is anyone who says Joshua Youngerman is a bandwagon jumper, that's fighting talk. God, just listening to you makes me want to go to Ed the Bevics and just...
Oh, my God.
Roll back the clock, Joshua Youngerman, you beautiful human being. Tell us, though, what's your question?
So I'm an Arsenal supporter, diehard Arsenal supporter. I think so I was actually really happy that Arteta experimented yesterday, largely because I think the lack of experimentation last year, I think, cost them big time when they had injuries. But I'm just curious. I guess I have two questions. I'm curious, A, what you thought of that experimentation instead of playing youngsters. I think it was good to see someone like Rice at center back just to see what he can do. But also, I think B, am I wrong to feel this strangely confident, at least about putting up a really big fight with City? Only because I think our defensive line this year is so solid that I think of the three teams that we're going to be, or four teams we're going to be competing with, we're the least likely to maybe drop points or given that defensive line. But I don't know. I'm just curious about your take on these two.
I love you. I'm listening to you, and I'm looking at my mug. I don't know if you can see that, Joshua Youngerman. My Arsenal mug that says "Hope Kills."
Nice.
In enormous, and I love it. I love hope. I spend a lot of time thinking about hope, the power of hope, the power of optimism. What we have when we lose hope. Chatting a lot to my mum about my dad at the moment. Like, she's filled with hope. There seems to be no real grounding, any reason that should even exist. But I'm also aware that without hope, we just plummet into the abyss. So I'm saying, do not listen to me and my hope kills mug. Cling on to your hope. Cling on to your hope. Because what are we? As human beings about it. I just taped a really beautiful conversation yesterday with John Green, which comes out as part of our holiday extravaganza. And we talked about hope a lot. We talked about optimism. We talked about the darkness of this world, and how he truly believes this world is so dark there can only be joy-tinged days ahead, which is just a radical and crazy notion to me, but one about the power of belief and optimistic thinking. That John Green podcast drops next Wednesday. And honestly, I'm not saying I cried at the end of it, but we talked about Animal Farm at great depth. And I thought about that cart horse scene being yanked off. Is it old Boxer? Is he the cart horse? Napoleon. Was Napoleon the bastard pig? It's all coming back to me. And it made me feel deeply sad. So that one is one I hope you have. Hold on to your hope, and you can tell me that it's because of your great backline, that is what gives you hope. Ultimately, we have no idea. I too was pleased with the experimentation if I were an Arsenal fan. I mean, ultimately, this is going to be a long haul. This is a marathon. We're all getting runner's nipple. There are so many injuries to come, and that tactical flexibility, that ability to improvise. Yes, I'm getting confirmation. It's Boxer the horse, Squealer the pig. So who's Napoleon, J-Dubs? Who was Napoleon?
I should answer this. I'm an ELA teacher. I'm an English teacher.
You are. Who was Napoleon the good pig? Who was Napoleon?
I don't remember. I might have to assign my students this book to.
I'm going to give you a detention, Joshua Youngerman. I'm sorry. You've not done your homework. There's no Napoleon news just in. Very, very bad pig. No Napoleon paper. I'm so lost. Let's all read Animal Farm again together, because I do believe it is a thinly veiled allegory for the future of football. That's ultimately what I've realised. But, I without hope, what is the point of watching any of this stuff? I had no hope, Joshua. As an Everton fan, I gave up my hope. And I will say, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with Everton at the moment. Is it true that when you cut the head off a chicken, it runs around still? Just the nerve system's kicking in, like a form of muscle memory. That's what I feel at Everton. That may be what we've watched these past couple of games. So I have no hope. I feel truly doomed. So my advice to you would be, whatever it takes, the defence, whatever, cling on to it. Arsenal, Brighton, then you play Liverpool. Then you play West Ham. Let's see. Call in Joshua Youngerman after that, you beautiful human being, and see where we are after that. I am rooting for you, though. Can you just describe your level of optimism before you pop off here?
I'm more optimistic than I was last year around this time. I think it's largely due to the fact that I think it's going to be like 85, 86 points to win the league this year. So I think just a lot of teams are going to take points off each other.
Yeah.
And I see frailties in the City team that I didn't see last year.
It's magnificent.
And I think it actually, and I think it's not necessarily because it wasn't there, but I just think teams are now realizing that if they have a go at them, they can actually get points. Because I think those defensive frailties probably were always there, but teams just were not willing to actually attack them. Right.
May your words be the truth. Before you go, because we've got to move on to a gentleman who's in Brazil. What's your order of choice at Ed the Bevics, Joshua Youngerman?
God, I'd have to think about that. I will call in the next time when I go back. I'm going back in a few weeks, so I will
send me a
go
photo.
to Ed Bevics.
Send me a
photo.
I will. God, you make me want to have a malted shake, outrageous fries and chili. More excitement than a Liverpool game on Telemundo.
There's a Chicago hot dog place in Park Slope, I think, called Dog Day Afternoon, which is really great. So
there you go. Get your plugs in. I will check out Dog Day Afternoon. Godspeed to you, mighty Youngerman. Next up, from Brazil, it's Mark. Oh my God, mate. Where are you?
Hey, Raj. Can you hear me?
Obrigado. Parabéns. Where are you?
So I'm calling from Curitiba, which is in the south of Brazil. Home of Brazil's own Wrexham Paraná Club.
Yes. Amazing. What are you doing there, baby?
Okay. I'm actually working. I'm also a teacher, so we got teachers today. I got to watch Johnny play this year in the Brasileirão, which was great.
Incredible.
So originally I'm from South Brunswick, so obviously I'm an Everton fan. Tim Howard, all the way, 100%.
Baby!
Yeah. I was very excited to get to see Everton's best player, Kevin Trippier, play today. It was a great watch once more.
These are deep cuts. Hang on, can we just go back to you for a minute, Mark?
Sure.
You were born near the grease trucks in New Brunswick, where I think grease trucks were like invented. God, did I go to a high school football game on New Year's Day in New Brunswick once? It's all flooding back to me. It was an incredible spot. I think Fat Elvis, is that an order that you have at the grease truck set? It's all it's Heyo country. It's a Heather O'Reilly country you are from. What are you doing in Brazil, though? You just decided, you know what? I can teach here or I can teach there. Let me choose that.
Yeah, pretty much. I decided the World Cup's going to be in Brazil. I want to go see it. Why not just move there? And I've been here for 10 years now.
God, you are an incredible human being. You are me if I never got out the panic room in Rio de Janeiro. I am so overjoyed. I want to know, are you a football regular there? Are you just going down there, charging the field, beating up the players when it doesn't go how you want it to be? That's what that's what it's all about, right? The joy of football.
Well, like I said, my team is like Brazil's Wrexham, so we're not even in a national league anymore. So it's kind of hard to do that.
I'm trying to think of some famous Brazilian who's going to come in and be Brazil, Ryan Reynolds. Maybe it'll be is Manu Chao Brazilian. What is your question, you beautiful human being? Is it about Everton? As I'm going off on this deluded, deep mind meld into the different exits of New Jersey. Are you on exit 9 in the olden days?
Oh yeah, exit 9, perfect call. Right off Route 1.
Yes! Oh, I love you. That is proper football country. Proper football country. What's your question?
Oh, all right, so I'm sacrificing beautiful, happy Brazilian summer so I can watch and loathe an Everton game January 14th for my birthday. So my question is, what jersey do I wear? Do I wear my US number 24 Tim Howard, my Everton US Tour denim tribute, my yellow Donovan Everton, or my 21-22 Everton number 7, used to be Richarlison, but now it's Shite McNeil.
God, this is fascinating. My gut says wear them all. Who are you going to go and see? You're watching us lose to Aston Villa. Aston Villa, right?
Yes.
Oh, Lucadinha, break our hearts. It's by the way, we need to get Giselle Bundchen or whatever her name is to buy your Brazilian team and then have them start to play games against Tom Brady's Birmingham City and just total love of revenge games. It would be magnificent. Who wouldn't watch that crap? I would get a Joe Max Moore shirt if I were you to celebrate it. I would get the original, the great, the true Joe Max Moore. I've talked about this many times, but when I'm feeling down, as I am now, it does cheer me up to think about Everton fans watching Joe Max Moore back in the day and instantly deciding that they were onto him. They knew exactly what his game was, and they called him Joe Max Less. All right, Joe Max Less, lad, which is to me one of the great footballing nicknames of all time. By the way, you now own 50% of the concept with me, which we have just created, Mark, in Brazil. Lover Revenge Football, which is just an amazing concept. I mean, we need to start making that shit together. That if we get Netflix to make that the next live thing instead of these weird golf matchups that they're starting to broadcast, just lover revenge football. I think it fuses so many interests. It's not a niche. It's humanity. Come and be with us anytime, Mark. What is the one thing you miss most about the United States of America down there in southern Brazil?
Mexican food. 100% Mexican food. I miss it.
Oh, mate. And the greatest thing that you do get to eat in Brazil, what is that?
That's a hard one.
That noise was amazing. I love that. I bottle that noise. I love it.
I mean, they're known for churrasco here. Big barbecues, lots of meat, lots and lots of food. So I guess I have to say that. But I prefer the drinks. A good caipirinha is perfect on a hot day.
No wonder you never came home. You are our official correspondent down there in southern Brazil. You're our Colonel Kurtz. And one day we're going to come down there and we're going to chase after you, try and find you, try and rescue you and find out that you had too much time, too much money, too much equipment. And little by little, we all went insane. God bless you. I love that you report into. Is the head of education for your area, is it Bobby Firmino?
No. Down here, they love Peter Rocky here.
That's amazing. You're a beautiful human being. To you, to health, to happiness, to joy through football. 2 more quick ones. Oh, Howard Goldberg, you're up next, you incredible human being.
Hey, Raj, how's it going?
Oh, terrible, mate. Where are you, though? And what's your question, you beautiful human being?
I am in Hoboken, New Jersey, and my question is about Christian Pulisic.
Heard of it?
And whether you think that if he stayed at Chelsea this season, under Mauricio Pochettino and was given the same opportunities he's been given at Milan, do you think he would find the same type of success?
Howard Goldberg, are you a Chelsea fan, or are you just a fan
I
of
don't.
fantasy novelism?
Let's go with the second one.
I mean, play this out with me. This scenario. So he's there, he's down, he's incredibly low. I mean, incredibly low. He just doesn't know what to do with himself. Just doesn't feel himself anymore. Just don't believe in myself. I've lost all sense of being. And it's the joy of Poch in that chaos. You think if Pooley was still in that chaos, that squad of 87 "Hello, my name is" stickers, where everybody is just, they're not a name, they're a number, and that number is just millions and millions of dollars that they were brought in for. You think in that reality, that's exactly the kind of verdant, fertile landscape in which Pooley could thrive?
I would say probably not. But you never know what kind of change can come in with a new manager.
See, I love you. I love you, Howard Goldberg. I think, by the way, quick question. Have you ever been to Razza Pizza in Jersey City? And if so, is it as good as they say?
It is. It is some phenomenal pizza. But I don't know if it's the best pizza in the country, but it's very, very good.
God, Razza Pizza, Daddy wants right now. This is the reality. I mean, Christian needs to be loved. Christian doesn't just need an opportunity or a crevice, Christian needs to be absolutely loved. He needs to be absolutely sure. If he feels that those around him feel a confidence in him, then that's all he can give back. It's why he loves the United States team. It's fascinating. Greg Berhalter. Greg Berhalter utterly believed in Christian Pulisic. For Berhalter, Christian Pulisic was the man, is the man. Christian loves that, loves the setup, loves to come in. For other managers, would he have given up his gonads to score a goal in the World Cup? Maybe, but he made the ultimate sacrifice in return. Ultimately, what Christian needs is to know playing time cannot be a question mark for Christian Pulisic at Milan. It just isn't, for a variety of reasons. He's loved there. The Giroud thing, we joke about it, but it's so real, it's so nourishing. He came, he arrived, he felt wanted, he is wanted. I was thinking about it. I couldn't sleep last night, and felt like I lay awake at about 3:00 in the morning, and just the fitness. I don't want to curse Christian now, but the whole fitness issue is just evaporated in Serie A. He feels loved. He is loved. He's getting game time. He is thriving, and he is soaring. He's doing it for Nonna Pulisic's meatballs, essentially. It is magnificent to witness. I love it. I mean, I spoke to I spoke to Ricardo Pepi this morning. He's had in a tiny amount of time what Christian Pulisic went through for an elongated time. He soared. He arrived. There were high expectations at Augsburg. He crashed. He had an agony, the double agony, the year without scoring, almost a year for club and country, being dismissed from the World Cup opportunity, a double agony. And, that would have broken most human beings. Instead, he's risen harder, faster, stronger. Christian had it for an extended period. And I'm reveling in every single moment, not just as a football fan, not just as an American football fan, but as a human being, to see someone tenacious, get off the floor. And ultimately, that's what I take from it all, Howard Goldberg. I said to... speaking to Ricardo Pepi today made me remember speaking to Arsene Wenger, and I asked him, what's the difference between good players and great players? And he said the difference is tenacity. He said it in his French accent, so it sounded like poetry. The ability to go from point A to point B without deviation in focus. And that's what Christian Pulisic has done in Milan. I don't think he would have had that opportunity if he'd stayed at Chelsea. God bless you. You're a beautiful human being. Respect to you, Christian Cutlets. If you want a fourth, yes, we want a fourth and final one. It's the mighty Pat from Evanston, Illinois. Oh, what a town. As someone that lived in Rogers Park for a long time, I could almost smell your barbecues wafting down towards my house, Pat. Oh, just tell us exactly where you are in Evanston and what's your question.
I'm actually near Howard Street, near like a little bit west of the L line.
Yeah,
So yeah. But I knew Josh actually, Josh Enderman. I grew up with him when I lived in Wilmette as a kid. So
What? This is amazing.
Yeah.
Not only do we have two teachers, but we have you knew Josh Youngerman. We all feel like we know Josh Youngerman now. So let's take a minute. Has he changed? Was he the kid Josh Youngerman, the same Josh Youngerman that we now know today as a defiant caller into Men in Blazers Do It Live? Are they one and the same?
well, perhaps, but he chose Arsenal over our Mighty Blues in Everton. So that's a little disappointing, but still, no, I knew Josh. So shout out to Josh. Hey, big up.
Good. By the way, did you become an Everton fan because it sounds so like Evanston when said drunk?
No, well, I grew up in Wilmette, so it doesn't really matter.
You're a gorgeous human being, and I'm obviously headed that way. So tell us, what's your question, Pat?
So here's the thing. It was really fun to watch the Geordies whine and cry after Kellen Wilson went on his podcast and took the piss out of Jordan Pickford when absolutely he gets ridiculed, minute after minute, day after day, hour after hour for being a Mackham. And it's hilarious to just give it to him back, and they couldn't do it. And then Callum Wilson goes on his podcast with Mikel Antonio and tries to takes the piss out of Pickford. It was hilarious. Then he goes after Vicario afterwards, and they got absolutely just annihilated by both Spurs and Everton. So, chef's kiss.
Is that your question, or you just wanted to come onto the show?
Oh, I just wanted to say that.
And end it with just the sweetest dose of Schadenfreude that we've had in a long, long time, Pat.
Oh, it was. But here's my question: is Pulisic's is Pulisic's is Pulisic's Champions League form enough to sort of raise his stature amongst European sort of like minds, I would say, or pundits? Because I feel like that was the right place, right time, a little Decore-esque finding, right place, right time, whatever, off of Giroud, which I feel like honestly it's a little Dom and Decore kind of little feel right there between Giroud and Pulisic. But nonetheless, the thing is I think there's not going to be a lot of credit because of how, and don't get me wrong, Rafael Leao is world-class talent, right? But I feel like Pulisic kind of gets a little bit drowned out in that conversation where he has those great combinations with Giroud and Calabria off the right, and is that going to be overshadowed by the brilliance of Leao as well as the sturdiness and international reputation of Giroud?
Oh, I love you. I mean, Giroud is Giroud. Giroud is one of one. Giroud is just a charismatic. Giroud looks like a footballer who could have been a lounge singer. Could have been a French movie star who didn't have any real hits over here, but is massive.
He's still a movie star, Rod.
Yeah. There is that wattage. You know what I mean? A lot of velvet, a lot of chest wig, a lot of having to move to an Eastern European country after Me Too started. He's that bloke. So he's one of one. I'd put that aside. And fantastic, a big time goal scorer of massive goals, an exclamation point wonder. Look, you're asking whether English people would change their POV on Pulisic.
Oh, of course.
But whatever he does in Milan, the honest truth is never, because that's not how English people work. They would rather laugh at him in eternity than change their minds. Look, I thought that when I watched Manchester United lose to Galatasaray, another game that probably gave you as a great purveyor of Schadenfreude, which we can talk about a lot another time. I'm fine, as I think more about the world descending into chaos. And I chatted to John Green about this at length. He's someone that does enjoy delving into, particularly Manchester United Schadenfreude, whether it's like time to give that crap up. But when Man United lost to Galatasaray, everyone just laughed at who was playing for Galatasaray. Zaha, playing for Galatasaray. Torreira was playing for Galatasaray. Who else was bloody playing for them? It was like Mussolera, it was Dries Mertens, it was all and Dombele. And everyone was like, oh my God, these sad old players. Instead of saying, oh my God, on that night, Galatasaray played delirious, wonderful football. I think ultimately, once you've failed at that stage, that stigma is almost impossible to shed from your, the stench. And particularly because Christian's Giroud can do anything. He oozes charisma. Christian is not the, from an English perspective,
Very quiet.
not the most charismatic, incredible player. Not the most charismatic player. Ultimately, when people don't love themselves, they're never going to love you. That's what I'd say to Christian. And he should just enjoy and soar and revel, savor every single moment. He's a gentleman that wants to be loved. He is loved in Milan. One of my goals for 2024 is to get out there, to be honest, and watch and experience and savor. You should enjoy it. Next 2 seasons, just savor playing alongside Leao, Giroud, and then do the logical thing and move to Everton. Wouldn't you bite your arm off for him to move? He doesn't have the feeling of a player who would return to Everton late in his career.
Absolutely. By the way, I was on, whether it's podcasts, sort of like club calls, whatever it is, I've said that both he and Tim Weah should have came to Everton, because honestly, I would take Tim Weah over Jack Harrison about 99 out of 100 times.
Oh, that's blasphemy on this show. No, Jack Harrison is the ultimate Everton player. Jack Harrison never stops running.
What does Jack Harrison do? Jack Harrison is kind of highly energetic, great in the press, all that stuff. But Tim Weah, all those things, plus a better touch.
Why not both, Pat,
better
from Everton?
crosser,
Can I just tell you,
fullback.
Jack Harrison is the ultimate Everton player. Look, 88 minutes, he'll have a game full of, energy, running, terrible touches, awful crosses, 88 minutes of me shouting at my television, come on, Jack, come on. And then...
And of course, balls way over into, into the pubs across the street.
Mate, and then he flicks a switch, guaranteed. Once again,
into
Jack Harrison,
our great Lord Nikolenko
will do something so sweet, so exquisite, so cunning, so backbreaking for the opponent. And that, to me, is an ultimate Everton player, someone who never gives up, always tries, complete and utter hustle, both ends of the field. And then in that one magic moment that we need to get us through the week, it's Jack Harrison providing the assist. Jack Harrison stepping up to lash the ball with a power and a ferocity as if he's kicking the head of his fallen enemy. And I adore Jackie Harrison. There will be no Jack Harrison blasphemy on this show. I worship him. That man, what a human being at the altar. You can come on anytime, Pat, you beautiful human being. All the callers tonight, by the way. Just how joyful. I felt like crap at the beginning of this call. I'm not going to lie. How additive you all are to my life. I love it, honestly. I love when you just don't ask questions, but you actually, God bless you. Come on anytime, you mighty Evanston Wilmette Mafia who are now dominating the show. The teacher Mafia who are just doing good all over the world, from New Jersey to the southern tip of Brazil, making us all feel bad about the decisions we made in our lives, because they are just educating the next generation. It is a joy to be with you from all over this nation, all over the bloody world, connecting through football, sweet bloody football. Shout out for a great question from our friend Christina Stotts in the chat. Can we get a Men in Blazers kicking competition between the Cowboys, Brandon Aubrey, and future Cowboy Harry Kane? Football versus football. I want to end by raising a sweet glass of Jägermeister to tonight It's a special night for me after 2 years of broadcasting with my friend European Nights, Rory Smith, in which we end every show by talking about incredible restaurants around this world. I am about to jump into a car, which is outside my studio window, charge into New York City, and have dinner with the very magical Rory Smith himself. He's here in New York City tonight, and I cannot wait to raise a glass and plan and dream about everything that is to come with that man, to making the most together of all the time we have. I say that to all of you who are listening to this on the podcast, all of you who are with us live tonight. We will be back on Sunday at the final whistle, thanks to Cash App, doing it live together. Before we go, quick word of everything coming up at Men in Blazers World Headquarters. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Producer J-Dubs is just on one at the moment, brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Coming up tomorrow, right here on our YouTube channel, a new episode, a brilliant one of our digital series, This Week in Wrexham, hosted by Welsh correspondent Tommy Cheese Lewis. For those who haven't seen it, the life of a decades-long Wrexham fan. He's seen darkness, he's experiencing light, a series about the team, the town, what it's really like to follow a lower league football team. This week, he goes to Forest Green, miles, and is 5 minutes away from the stadium when they call off the game. So he pivots, goes to watch Bath City, just the 6th-tier Bath City, and it's almost like a remake of Train Spotting, is all I'm going to say. Also that and the culinary delight that is the fish cake. I encourage you all to watch. That's all I'm going to say. It's Rog. Thank you to everyone who joined me tonight, everyone who's watching along, to my staff who are busting their asses as we head towards the holiday period. Big love to all of you. Let's do it again on Sunday here. Thank you, Cash App. We'll do it live. Courage.